Hi, and welcome to MarylandReporter.com's weekly podcast. I'm Andy Rosen, here with staff writer Nick DiMarco and editor and publisher Len Lazarick. And it is one of the slowest times of the year for political and government news. There are a lot of people on vacation. It's very slow and quiet, but there are still stories out there. And we're going to give you a little taste of some of the things we're working on so you remember that your government is still operating even while you're on vacation. So to start off, Len has been following a gubernatorial race issue having to do with Bob Ehrlich's sort of idea of what he's going to do for job creation if he were to be elected governor in a rematch with Governor Martin O'Malley. He's still holding some of the details out, but Len, you've been following this pretty closely. What do you know?
Well, Ehrlich has done a series of roundtable discussions, dozens actually, around the state. And on Monday, he's going to unveil some proposals. He's been kind of vague about them, but they sound very much like what the state can do to get off the backs of business and to encourage job growth. I went to a Martin O'Malley event with Prince George's Chamber of Commerce, and one of the things that I would comment, and I'm going to be writing, I am going to be writing about this, is that Ehrlich talks about how government can leave business alone, can do things that make it easier for business, and O'Malley tends to talk about what government can do for business in terms of investing and also the kind of things that he's done in the regulatory area with things that are a problem in business. So they have very different approaches to the idea of business. And the O'Malley campaign, without knowing really any details about the Ehrlich plan, jumped on it immediately in kind of a vague fashion with the kind of thing that we're going back to the failed...
I'm looking at this right now. He's saying, and yet another example of how far backwards Bob Ehrlich wants to take Maryland. He's pushing the same failed policies that caused Maryland voters to fire him 4 years ago. Funny they use the term fire in a business release. But, it's interesting because he hasn't given out any details, and, he will on Monday morning, but the...
And the statement goes on to talk about tax policies and deficits and I mean it's really the same old stuff. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot new in either of their statements leading up to, but we'll see what Ehrlich comes up with. Speaking of candidacy, we do have a lot of news coming out as people deciding to run and not to run for election in Maryland this year. We got a big midterm election. All the General Assembly seats are up, and it's mid-July. The exact date Len has, what is that?
It is July 6th.
July 6th.
9 p.m. on July 6th, because the 4th is on the Sunday, and so the holiday is on the 5th, and then, so it's July 6th. Yeah, so we're almost exactly 4 weeks away from that. Probably the most interesting, it's very interesting in General Assembly, I would say almost as many Republicans have decided not to come back, even though they're a much smaller percentage. But the most interesting thing to me was an endorsement by the teachers in Montgomery County where they endorsed a delegate, Craig Rice, for a race that he hasn't really officially decided he's going to run for, and that is for county council. So it's kind of like, and they didn't endorse him for the job that he currently has. So trying to send him a message. I talked to him about it. He was a little bit nonplussed by that.
And so I actually wanted to chime in. Actually, talking about candidates and moving forward. Something that I think is I've noticed this year around, there's something interesting looking at who's saying what. Following these candidates on social media outlets has just become comical. The candidates are throwing 140 character grenades back and forth at each other, and you're talking about endorsements. I think it's the easiest way to track it now. If you're looking at your Facebook page, it's we put together that story on it a few weeks ago. And I think also moving forward with the elections board possibly starting to regulate social media, I think it could play out to be something interesting come November.
I think that's true. Nick, thank you, and thank you, Len. That's all the time we have for today. Please make sure to check back every week and find us on iTunes. This is the podcast from MarylandReporter.com, and we are here every Monday. Thank you very much, guys.